Wolves fans, I am still recovering from last night's loss. Up 8 with 48 seconds to go, and somehow we lose by 1. Just crumbled. This one hurts. This is peak Wolves pain. So let's get into it and break it down, maybe with a whiskey. What's up, everyone? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to the Wolves 6 Show, a show for fans, by a fan. No media spin, no corporate tone, just honest reactions, frustrations, hype, and everything in between. And tonight, we've got a lot to talk about. So let's get in. First of all, just a little bit of context after this game. This was a cup game, an in-tournament game. Wolves were 2-0 in that tournament game. Phoenix was 1-0. Phoenix was down Grayson Allen. They were down Jalen Green. So this was a big opportunity. We really didn't have any injuries on our end, except for Terrence Shannon Jr., which is still a loss. But that was really our only person that we didn't have in tonight. One of the matchups I was really looking forward to was Julius Randle versus Dillon Brooks, and I despise Dillon Brooks. I know I've heard he's a great teammate, but on TV and when you're playing against him, his whole demeanor, just the way he goes about himself to try to get under your skin, really just, I'm sure all of you can agree, rubs me the wrong way. So I was really looking forward to that. I thought Julius Randle, I was looking forward to that matchup as well. But sometimes you could see he was trying a little bit too hard. You know, he really wanted to take Dillon Brooks to the hole or make a move. But again, it seemed like every time the ball got back to him, he wanted to prove a point almost. So the ball would get sticky with him. Sometimes he tried to force a shot up. And we even saw that late game blunder where he got it picked in the fourth quarter there. So great matchup when those two were together. But that was one of the key matchups I was looking forward to. And let's talk Rudy Gobert. He came out and balled. He didn't put up huge numbers, but he got second chance opportunities for us on offensive rebounds. He was just everywhere. He was switching on pick and rolls, defending him up by the perimeter, dropping back, switching, being a force in the paint. I thought he was huge, and he really kept us in the game, especially in the second half. And Naz Reid, he continued to show being consistent. He didn't have one of those huge, massive games like he did the past two, but he didn't decline either. So I think he's finally found his footing. And then Anthony Edwards, I think his footwork driving to the hoop is right now is elite. You know, he's not just settling for those three-pointers, which we did start to see. But he was driving to the hoop. He's pump faking, and the footwork is just a beautiful thing to see. Like I said, he's slowing down. He's controlling the pace. In my last video, I mentioned that he's really looking at the defense, waiting for them to make a mistake, and then he's attacking, which has been great to see. But let's talk about the struggles in the first quarter, specifically, well, in the first half. Their pressure defense on us caused us trouble all game long. Definitely in the first half. I think we did better in the second half, but we had, two 24 shot clock violations on offense in the first half, which that's just ridiculous, especially when they're down 2 starters. Their pressure on defense just continually sped us up in the first half and really got us off our game. And even the first quarters, they were getting out and they were running fast break points. They were up 12-0 against us in the first quarter. And they're also 5th in the NBA in offensive rebounding. That really showed in some of the stats that we were looking at. And throughout this game, all those second chance opportunities that they got, they really crashed the boards hard. We just did not get bodies on them like we needed to in the first half. Then comes the second quarter, and Colin Gillespie, I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but you guys know who I'm talking about, killed us. As a basketball fan, he's a pure shooter. He's got great form. He had 16 points in the first half. He was getting open. He's got a shot off quick. It's a pretty shot, and they were going in, but we got to defend that better. That's a little ridiculous. And also an interesting stat by Colin. It's a Phoenix franchise stat for bench players. He recorded 36 threes through 15 games, and that's a record for them. He looked like Steph Curry Jr. out there, just raining threes on us. And then comes the Dillon Brooks effect. He got under Naz Reid's skin. They both got technical fouls. That's exactly what you want him to do. And even his post-game comments, I don't know if you all heard them or not, but you know, Dillon Brooks is just talking up a big game, saying, yeah, you know, they were overconfident. I love when guys talk a big game in the beginning of the game, and then they lose confidence in the big spotlights and their eyes get huge, and I just love that. Oh, he makes me so mad. Jay McDaniels, I thought he was solid tonight. Welcome back, Jaden. I know my last couple posts we were talking about how you were the number one three-point percentage shooter in the NBA at 53%. I think he was 0 for last night, so that might have taken a dip a little bit, but he was still aggressive. He had a little bandage on his wrist from spraining his wrist, but I thought he played well. He moved within the offense, got to his spots to hit his shots, and he got some hustle points off some rebounding too. And Rob Dillingham showed up. I know I've given him some crap lately about just being timid and passing up some shots. I thought for that run that he had a couple threes, a couple steals. He was moving the offense a little bit, still getting blocked when he's going to the hoop. But I think the more Finch plays him, the more he's starting to get his minutes and his confidence is going up, and he's taking those shots to help our team. Overall, that first half was pretty sloppy, though. 38% field goal percentage by us, 10 turnovers in the first half. We got outscored 24-12 in bench points, and 13-0 in transition, disadvantage Wolves. And at halftime, we're down 13, and honestly, we're lucky that it wasn't more. But come the second half, we turned it on. Ant said, enough with this. I got this. Wolves are in the second half. The Wolves showed up. They were competing. They were pressuring. They were playing with that fire, taking it to the hoop, like, all right, enough is enough. And they were all of a sudden up by 4, midway through the third quarter. Ant went nuclear, driving to the hoop, hitting some ridiculous threes, hitting his open teammates. That's the Ant. If he consistently plays like that, we could be talking MVP. However, what we saw in the fourth quarter, a couple lapses here, that's what you can't do, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But Ant did have 19 points just in the third quarter. He had 16 points in the whole first half, and then he was jawing at Dillon Brooks. He did a little stepped into him, stepped back, hit a three. Not in his face, but he got Dillon Brooks to step back just a little bit to hit a three. So that was soul refreshing to see him jawing and hitting at Dillon Brooks. And we just turned up our defense on the second half. We held Phoenix to 21% shooting in the third. We led by 1 going into the fourth, so fully back in the game. We're alive, and right now the momentum is definitely ours going into the fourth quarter. So come to fourth quarter, it starts off pretty good. We have Dante getting into the mix now, hitting some threes, hustling on defense. Jalen Clark is pressuring the ball. I think I mentioned this in my last episode too. Jalen Clark, his footwork and shuffling his feet is probably the fastest in the NBA without fouling. It's insane. He should have been in there the whole fourth quarter. And then guys are hustling. Julius Randle, Dante dove on the floor for that one possession, just being scrappy, hustling to the ball, yelling. And we called a timeout, and we got it. And then our whole bench just erupted and went on the court. At that point in time, you think the game is in the bag. I think at that time we were maybe up by 3 or 4, but you're like, we have all the momentum. We're hustling to the loose balls. We want it more. But here comes the collapse. Up 5 with 1:42 to go. Then we're up 8 with 49 seconds left to go. And you can even hear the commentator starting like it's almost a wrap. But Ant had some late game issues. Ant is our leader. Ant dropped 41 tonight. Ant got us back in the game. Without Ant tonight, we're probably not even in the game. However, he missed those 2 clutch free throws at the end. Those are huge. You got to at least hit one. And then that boneheaded inbounds play where he just nonchalantly kind of threw it to Dante in the corner there. It got stolen. Again, you're a superstar. You're going for MVP in this league. That's something you can't do. And then also, the last time out of the game that Phoenix took on the last possession specifically, why wasn't Jalen Clark out there? That's a Chris Finch question. I know a lot of media were not at this game, so they couldn't answer or ask him that question at the end of the game. So hopefully today or tomorrow, our reporters, when they're back in Minneapolis or on the road in Sacramento, we play on Monday, that they can ask him that question. Like, Finch, what was your thinking? Why wasn't Jalen Clark in there in that last possession of the game, putting some ball pressure on their number one scorer? Free throws, those were probably one of the main points why we lost the game as well. We were 23 for 33 on free throws. They're free. And that was not that did not help us at all. So some my final takeaways here: the Wolves are now 0-6 against teams that are above 500. So that is a stat that we will have to keep an eye on. No more sleepwalking through these teams that are below 500. We are now 0-6 against teams that are over 500. And Phoenix really beat us in the margins. They 21 to 10 second chance points, transition, pressure, handling the ball. All that was in Phoenix's corner. Ant gave us 41, like I said, but in the end, it really hurt. He had star level scoring, but not star level closing, and that's something we gotta figure out here. This one's going to sting. We had them. We absolutely had them. Aside from the cup game and the point differential and all that stuff, it was just a win on the road that we needed to have. against a quality opponent, but they were down 2 starters. So this is a game we should have had. So hopefully we can just turn this around in Sacramento on Monday night. So Wolves fans, that's my reaction. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this one's going to be talked about for a while, or at least until Monday, where we can turn the page and beat Sacramento. I'll see you on Monday for the post-game reaction when we get a W in Sacramento. This is the Six Wolf Show. Thanks for riding with me. Peace all.